Okay, so I want you to go into create a maze, and you're going to go into Sprite Lab right here. You're going to say create a Sprite Lab, and the first thing I want you to do is I want you to create a background. You can see that I have a maze background, but how did I get that maze background? So what I did was I went for a search, and I searched simple maze. And let's take a look. You can see we've got some different patterns here. I'm looking for one that's not too easy. And then I made sure and I right clicked and I saved the image. Then what I could do once I have it saved, I can go into my backgrounds and I uploaded it. So I said add a new background. I uploaded an image and I found where I had saved it, and it's right here. I don't need another one. Then I said done. And there it is. So when I go back to code, you can see when I click on my backgrounds, my maze is appearing right here. So that's the first step, is I want you to have the first level of your maze to be fairly simple, not a difficult one. And next thing I needed to do, I need to go into and make my marker or my sprite. So I can upload a green dot. I can get a green dot by using an image online. I can create a green dot by going to costumes and just making one using the draw feature. Or I can also just choose one of the ones that's available here. So there are a few different images. Apple would work, sunshine would work, any of those. You don't want a shape that might hit the edges. You want more of a circle shape, or square would work too. Ghost would work. So choose a sprite and put it at its starting location. So I can click on the location, I can move it to where I want it to start. Next thing is my sprite is too big, so I want to go in and I want to set my size. So I'm going to go choose this from our sprite, and we're going to set the size, and I think 40 worked good for me, so I'm choosing 40. Next thing I want to do is I want to go into my sprite, and I grabbed my sprite is going to behaviors is going to begin, and I want it to begin by driving with arrow keys, and I need to set this up a little bit. So I'm going my sprite, make sure I have my right sprite. I clicked arrow key. Now I edited this and I had to choose the right sprite behavior and making sure I'm doing the right thing. And I needed to tell what sprite it was, how much I wanted it to move when I hit the up, down, left, and right key. So you can see, and I matched north, south, west, and east with that. So now that I've got that done, I'm not happy with my starting location. I'm going to go back and make sure I've got that right here. Okay. My starting background is my maze. I've got a new sprite and I put it at the starting, and I know my finish is here. I want my sprite to drive by arrow keys. So let's test it and making sure it's working. My up, my right, up. So it is working very in a simple way. If I hit the edges of my maze, it's not sending me back to the beginning. I just need to figure out how to go through the maze. Now, once I get to the top of my maze, I want to have another sprite. So I'm going to create a new sprite again, and I'm going to create the bullseye, and I want to set the bullseye. I need to reset. There's my bullseye. I want to set the location at the finish, because I want your game, your maze, to have at least 2 levels of difficulty. I need to change the size of that sprite. So I'm going to go back in here, grab this. I'm going to change to the right sprite, and I think 40 was a good size. So when I'm going to create an event now, when is that the right one? Nope, I don't have the right event. I gotta go make sure I get the right. When this touches this is the one I want. So for my event, when my moving part of my maze touches the bullseye, what do I want to happen? I want to create a new world. I want to change a new background, and I want level 2 to be more difficult. I also want to say at the beginning Let's go Sprite world. At the world, I want to say at the beginning, I guess I'm going to show title screen. I'm going to put that in here, and the title screen is find the bullseye. Find the bullseye. And oops, find the bullseye. Okay, find the bullseye right there. And I also need after so many seconds, I need another event. After let's say 5 seconds, I'm going to hide my title screen. So I need to have an event to tell that. So here we go. I've got that. Let's run it, see what happens. Find the bullseye. It should go away at 5 seconds. I think 5 seconds was too long. I'm going to change it to 3 seconds. Now, when this touches this, I want to change the background. So I'm going to go find a more complicated maze. Let's see if we can find one. Maybe that one is good. Let's save image as maze 2. Save it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to go back into my costumes, my backgrounds. I'm going to add a new background. I'm going to search for a maze 2. So I'm going to upload. There's my maze 2 opening up. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back to my code and I'm going to create, when it touches the bullseye, I'm going to change the background to that. So let's reset, and I have to work my way through, and then you're going to have to, I'm not going to make you watch all of this. You're going to have to go to a new screen and code what's going to happen when you get to the new screen. Maybe you're going to change from that. Maybe I'm going to have my sprite change to a new sprite. So I'm going to make that one disappear, and I'm going to make a new sprite, and my old sprite, and I'm going to remove my old sprite, and I'm going to make a new sprite, and I'm going to create an apple. So I want you to create a maze that has at least 2 levels of difficulty. You need to have at least 1 sprite moving through where it touches. Maybe when you click here, you say level 1, level 2. You decide what your maze is going to say. You decide what your screens are going to say, and make it interesting and fun and challenging for somebody who's going to play your maze. Okay, so now that we have our basic maze set up, I've now started to get creative and think, what can I add to my maze to make it more challenging? So if we look at the code, I've gone in here and added a ghost that is going to wander. And if my sprite touches the ghost, it's going to go all the way back to the beginning. I've changed my title to level 1 because I'm going to have as many hard levels, each one getting more and more complicated as I go. I have also added here that when I start, I'm going to have background music playing. So I'm going to have music in the background. That is right here. It says play sound background synthesizer. So I've added some challenges. I've added some music, and let's just take a look and you'll see how it works. Now, students said to me before, can't we just cheat and move our cursor or our medallion all the way to the next level? Well, if you were doing this with a paper and pencil, you have to think, would it be any fun doing a maze on paper and pencil and just drawing a straight line across your page? No. The fun part about doing a maze is actually doing the maze. So it's fun to have these obstacles in the way. You could put sprites along the way that if your medallion touches it, it would send it back. You could have all kinds of different things. Some of my students are putting hearts, and you have so many lives, and if you lose your life 3 times, you're out. So let's get creative and let's see how many different events we can add to our Sprite to make it, or our maze, to make it more entertaining for those people to play it.